Alright, as always, you can go to YouTube channel My Medical Nightmare and see 40 plus hours video on everything that happened to me. The third week of August 2025 was the first full week for back to school for the vast majority of students in the Birmingham, Alabama area. The legal team of UAB, University of Alabama at Birmingham, chose this very busy time period to try to sneak in a dismissal request before a court who is working on a case in which UAB is accused of taking the organs from autopsy subjects they were entrusted with, and the Jefferson County Circuit Court Judge denied this play for time. This is according to a news article dated August 13th, 2025, courtesy AL.com. The headline reads, "Another case over organs missing from prisoners in Alabama to go forward. Nothing short of grave robbery." That quote is from attorney Lauren Faraino. She added, "We are here today because UAB violated the sacred trust placed in them to perform a solemn service. They robbed bodies entrusted to them of organs that were not theirs to take, disregarding the rights and dignity of the deceased and their grieving, vulnerable loved ones. This is nothing short of grave robbery, dressed in the guise of medical authority, and it strikes at the heart of public trust in our institutions." There are many similar such cases ongoing now in the state of Alabama. In this case, the family of Matthew Harrell reportedly made several attempts to get the autopsy write-up from UAB. Apparently this was not successful, and this resonates with my own experience dealing with St. Vincent's Hospital, UAB, and Ascension-based medical practices spread around the Birmingham, Alabama area. When you try to go and get your records from them as a patient or a customer, sometimes it's not that easy. My experience tells me that when the hospital or your doctor will not relinquish medical records immediately, chances are there's something in those documents they don't want people to see. So reading this again, after several attempts to get the autopsy report from UAB, according to the family's lawsuit, they finally got a copy from the Talladega County Coroner's Office. So in that report, it was confirmed that several of his organs were kept by the University of Alabama at Birmingham. So recapping, the judge denied UAB's motion to dismiss. AL.com adds, the judge says the case would likely be appealed to the Alabama Supreme Court. The attorney added, she believes it's a terrible decision for UAB to continue to fight back in the organ cases instead of admitting wrongdoing and attempting to address it and make it right for these families to the extent that they can. She expects that dozens, if not hundreds, of families have been impacted by UAB's practice of keeping organs. I've seen a lot of absolutely deplorable things dealing with hospitals and doctors in my own case. This takes things to a new low. Alabamians have to take a stand against this stuff. I think there need to be public inquiries and transparency. All the business that UAB conducts involving human organs. People in Alabama need to know where every organ comes from, where it's going, that UAB is allowed to have custody over. Doctors and medical staff as well. You come in contact with human organs in University of Alabama at Birmingham, you need to demand the chain of custody and the origin. People in Alabama, they should not stand for this kind of stuff to be happening in their community. But unfortunately, the community is not what it used to be. It looks like one possibility in the sale of Ascension St. Vincent's to University of Alabama at Birmingham is that the corrupt elements and doctors, the unbridled greed and evil that exists in the area, have scared away and pushed the Christian elements out. Hi, yes, I'd like to leave a message for President Watts.
Sure, I'll be happy to take it.
I was interested in contacting UAB President Dr. Ray Watts regarding the university's recent takeover of Ascension St. Vincent's Hospital's infrastructure and services. I was a patient and customer of many of these doctors over the past several years and suffered major medical fraud, misdiagnosis, malpractice, patient dumping, and a lack of treatment. And there are many others in the state of Alabama who have similar unresolved, outstanding issues. Dr. Watts may be interested in my case. As a neurology specialist, I had broken the underside of my skull in the area of the occipital condyle and condylar canal. Possibly my foramen magnum was also fractured or broken. A very serious injury. I almost died from. Yeah, I went to St. Vincent's, had MRI, CT, and x-rays taken. I was told that I had no injury. I knew better because I almost died from whatever happened to me. Got my records, and I was given written and signed radiology reports from Ascension St. Vincent's that I had no injury there, but the injuries show up in the pictures. So Dr. Watts, he could look at what happened to me. You can see 60 hours video documentation on my story at YouTube channel My Medical Nightmare. Ascension did business the wrong way during his tenure as the manager of these facilities, and UAB inherits these risks, debts, liabilities. At the same time, they try to present a new image for their acquisitions. As a patient and customer, I believe UAB must immediately assess and expunge corruption from its hospitals and staff, and in fact, its future business success depends on this.
If you would you send an email to that? Okay. Take your time. It's at president@uab.edu, and there you can spell out every concern you have and what you think he needs to know, and then we can make sure it gets to him and other proper authorities.
Okay, thank you very much, because this is a very serious matter. Okay, thank you.
And I'll watch for your email.
Between 2018 and 2019, I was an emergency department patient at Ascension St. Vincent's East Hospital in Birmingham, Alabama. I believe I had broken my neck. I had an x-ray, 2 CT scans, and later an MRI looked at by Ascension St. Vincent's doctors. Each time they had told me I had no injuries in this area, I knew their diagnosis was an error as my condition worsened. The area became infected and infested with parasites. By summer 2019, I almost died. I obtained my medical records from your hospital along with the x-ray, CT, MRI imagery, and discovered the truth of my injury. I had broken bone in the underside of my skull in the area of the condylar canal and occipital condyle. How the doctors could have missed such a large and serious injury over multiple hospital visits is inexcusable. I believe some element of organized corruption may exist in this hospital. I believe I may have been a victim of patient dumping in the course of my seeking treatment, which is a violation of EMTALA, E-M-T-A-L-A. When I told medical staff associated with Ascension about my discovery that I had been misdiagnosed repeatedly, I was personally attacked and my psychological state was challenged, and this is reflected in medical records I obtained later. I could not obtain proper treatment or diagnosis for this injury because doctors and nurses that I would subsequently have encounters with would only entertain what the erroneous Ascension ER findings were. My mother, who was a nurse for 20 years, had the misfortune of working in an Ascension hospital. When I questioned my MRI findings involving St. Vincent's Ambulatory Healthcare Network, LLC, and Dr. Michael Brandt Ruff, MD, radiologist, in March 2019. My mother, who was a nurse for 20 years and worked in the Ascension Hospital, she was terminated from her job there around the same time.